Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another amazing episode of Crushing Strongholds. This is a podcast where we turn pain into power, trauma into triumph, and a place where we get to expose the lies of the enemy. And how do we do that? We do that by sharing the grace and the love and the truth of Jesus Christ and by dismantling strongholds. Did you know that your voice matters? Your testimony matters? And today I have an amazing guest here today to share an outstanding testimony. And it's crazy how I met this gal. I just ran across her on Facebook and we hit it off. We hit it like totally out of the park. We're becoming friends and I've enjoyed getting to know this individual. Her name is Megan Stewart. She's been married for 10 years. She has a cat named Clarence. And she has an amazing testimony that I can't wait for her to share with you about how she hit rock bottom and Satan tried to take her out, but God had other plans. So I welcome you today, Megan. And if you don't mind, welcome aboard and come on in and tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Mickey, so much for having me here. I'm excited. I've never done
Mm.
anything like this before,
Okay.
but I have spoken a few times, just usually in person, never being recorded to try to rewatch it later. Um, yeah. So today we're gonna splatter the batter, is what I like to say for Mego's Messy Bakery. It's
Love it.
my messy life and how everything comes to be because it ain't perfect, but it's beautiful and
Amen.
it's mine. Um, So yeah, a little bit about me. I am 31 years old, currently residing in Arkansas. Um, and I am married. My husband's name is Brian. We've been married for 10 years. He is currently residing in California. So I'm just kind of joking that now we're doing the long distance college thing because he's going back to school to get his teaching credentials. And I just applied, I'm going to Brightwater College, to get my culinary degree, so that way I can have my own food truck. And so it's it's been an insane journey, but I'm so excited, so excited to see where
That,
things go.
that's really awesome. I would love to have my own food truck. Just drive around and feed people. I think that would be great because running a homeless ministry, I think homeless
Yes.
ministries should have a food truck. So we got to get these churches on board and be like, hey, let's come up with a homeless ministry where we can have a food truck, for our homeless
Once,
people in the community.
yes, my local church, Woodland United Methodist, had one of our Fridays, like once a month or about every 5 weeks, kind of when the freezer was running low, we did what we called go meals. And so we would, the youth pastor, Pat, would go and pick out a couple recipes and go buy all the stuff. And we would split into our own teams based on how many people we had that night for each group. And we would cook as teenagers in the kitchen. And would usually make between 30 and 60 meals, depending on portion sizing and everything, that were in to-go boxes, had a scripture, had exactly what was in it, and anyone could come in at any time and take a meal. Take a meal, heat it up, take a stack, no questions asked, no signing, just food free, have it. And so that's my like, I want to feed people and I want to be happy. And I've always sold my baked goods or cooked for people. And so my ultimate dream is like a pay as you go food truck, or like pay what you can food truck, pay it forward type thing. Cause I don't ever want someone to feel like, oh, I want to try that, but I can't afford it.
Right.
Because that's that's how I got my love of baking and cooking is I don't want to pay $25 for that, but this is a beautiful and amazing. How can I make this at home?
Right.
And then moving out to Arkansas from California, where it is not as culturally diverse in many areas, um, a Sonic is our main restaurant in my town with its two stoplights. So being able to have my fill of sushi restaurants or Indian food or Vietnamese or Thai, anything like that was like that's not a thing. It's just not there. So I learned how to make these myself so I can enjoy everything at home. And it's such a passion of mine to just feed people. And that was ironically the first way I was kind of introduced to Christ was through that, through cooking and through my youth pastor who saw me and became a huge father figure in my life and now actually owns his own Irish pub. It's beautiful, beautiful. Just so that way, same, he can have a meeting place for people to come, hang out, feel safe, and he can have his favorite food.
That's awesome. That's
So,
really
yeah.
awesome. So, well, I met you through reading your testimony on Facebook,
Mhm.
and it definitely resonated with me. Like I said, you and I actually have a lot in common. um, we actually used to live only 45 minutes from each other, which is crazy because we're so far apart now. Maybe one day we'll get back in the same area and run into each other. That would be
Right.
so awesome to connect in person. But I'm really excited for our listeners today to hear about how you overcame a really huge obstacle in your life that where Satan literally was trying to take you out, and God intervened and saved your life. And I
Yeah,
can't wait to hear that story and have our listeners hear it, because this podcast is all about crushing those strongholds that try to keep us back and try to keep us from those desires and the dreams. Like, can you imagine how many people want to be in culinary? But if we're not living the dream, if we have strongholds that are holding us back, um, we can't always be successful in that area. So why don't you
yeah,
share with us your testimony? I can't wait to hear it.
absolutely. I know. How do we break those barriers? How do we unbind those chains? It's exactly how do we have access? Um, yeah. So, okay, I started my journey. I guess there's always been a lifelong journey for me with my weight because I love food, as you can see just from the first couple minutes. And my pizza sweatshirt. It's a velociraptor eating pizza slices. Um, that's always been such a big thing for me. And so I found myself at 20 years old, over 400 pounds. And I wanted to be a mom and I wanted to be healthy and I needed to get my stuff in order. So I ended up having gastric bypass in 2018 and stuck to the diet. I lost my weight. I busted my butt. And, you know, I saw that I needed just that little extra help to get there, and which is a huge blessing because so many people it hasn't been that tool. But I didn't do enough work on me uh, to see my part in things, and so I ended up with transfer addiction, and I became an alcoholic. It took about 6 months for me from trying my first drink of alcohol after my surgery to being a full blown alcoholic. And I'd had it was a perfect disaster of uh, we were struggling with, I say we because me and my husband were struggling with mental health at the time, and Arkansas doesn't have in 2018 didn't have the capacity that it does now for mental health programming and assistance. And I ended up with a head injury, and not from a big drunk, but I fell and hit my head and ended up losing my job and having to be off work. And my depression got worse and worse and worse. And then the alcohol didn't make it any better. Um, so we moved back to California, ironically, a week before COVID became a thing. We didn't know, obviously, um, to get so I could get back in with like Kaiser and get back in with California health insurance. So I could get mental health figured out. Because I am diagnosed bipolar 2 now, which my therapist actually thinks is ADHD, but that's a whole nother can of worms. And so I played the rehab game a few times of this finally got out of control. I was trying to manage how I'm working and supporting me and my husband so he can go back to school because COVID just became a thing and everything is closed. So I was a mod severe special needs teacher during the day, or teacher's assistant technically during the day. And then I was also a supervisor at Starbucks, and I worked 6 or 7 days a week. And both of those were full-time jobs. So it was really hard. It was really, really emotionally hard because I'm such a people pleaser and I don't want to talk to people and I want to help people in any way that I can, that I didn't realize I was giving so much of myself that I was destroying myself in the process. But just like caterpillars, sometimes you got to turn to goo before you can turn into a butterfly, and that's okay. And especially seeing where I'm at now. Um, and so I went in and out of rehab, did sober living, tried, uh, the different relocating, doing a geographic, and it just didn't do anything. Uh, from junior high till I had moved to Arkansas, I was very active in my church. I didn't grow up in church. My mom's position was your relationship with God is your relationship with God. And all I can do is teach you to be a good person and make good choices.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, you do you. And so I've had some interesting luck. I've been asked not to come back to a couple churches, not because of doing anything disrespectful, but because I wasn't allowed to ask questions. And I didn't understand that because if I don't know the religion and I'm trying to learn, I'm just asking, like, why is that not okay? Or why is this weird? What does that mean? Like even you and I were just discussing, we had been discussing before we started, I couldn't think of the Bible verse. And so I'm like, this is a story, but I don't have those stuck in my head. Ironically, when someone asks me for a Bible verse, Deuteronomy 25:11 is the first thing that comes to my head because it was a joke when I was like 15 or 16 that one of the men in youth he used to tell one of the boys. And I'm like, I can't even remember it off the top of my head, but I was like,
Mm-hmm.
that's always the one that comes straight to me. So I had done short relapse and then try to get my stuff together. Short relapse, try to get my stuff together. And then um, it all came to a head a year ago, pretty much a year and 2 weeks ago. Um, I was struggling at work and um, I don't know what happened. I haven't asked, but I came to from a blackout and my grandpa had woken me up and said, you're going to go move in with your mom. I love you. But I can't do this anymore. And I said, okay. So I had about 12 hours to pack my belongings into a suitcase and get on a plane and fly to Arkansas, which is very hard if you're really hungover. But I did it. And so 1 week before my 30th birthday, in 2024, I moved to Arkansas and to try to figure it out. And it didn't take very long for about a 2 month, it was about a 2 month binge bender. Just, I don't care. I don't know what I'm doing. Obviously, this isn't working. This isn't working. And it had gotten to where we didn't want to, I didn't want to do any family parties. I didn't want to go to my brother's house for Christmas because I wasn't getting to spend it with my husband and I wasn't getting to spend it with those that I was the closest with. So it was very bittersweet. Um, and I knew that in order to make it to Christmas, I needed to stop drinking by like the 21st or 22nd, based on, okay, it's going to take me this long to recover and I'll be sick and I'll be shaky. And then, okay, if I stop now, then Christmas morning I should be good and we can do it. Because that's the, magic thinking of an alcoholic.
Yeah.
And I remember having my bottle drinking through the 22nd and then because we decided like, one more drink. We'll just one more, it'll be fine. And so I had my bottle and I remember it's probably 1 or 2 a.m., 2 to 3. So technically the December 23rd, 2024. I remember waking up and having to go to the bathroom. And it took me probably a good 20, 30 minutes to get up off the couch to physically stand up because my muscles were so weak. And I was covered in sweat and just feel horrible, shaking. Went to the bathroom and climbed back on the couch. And there was probably 2 or 3 shots left. And I didn't want to take them, but I knew I wasn't going to throw them away. So I just cried. Yeah, it was hard. I didn't know what to do. And I said, like, Mom, I'm not going to make it this time. I don't feel good. Like my body is, it's the worst I've ever felt. And I've had to medically detox and I've had a seizure before. So I think I'm not okay. And she said, sleep it off, kid. You'll be fine. Just go to sleep. And I remember just laying there crying, defeated. And as I took that last drink, I said, I'm done. And I prayed. I said, I need help. I'm done. My body can't do this. And I love everyone. And I tried my hardest for years, about 3 years at this point of sobriety, of trying sobriety and failing and just keep having very short relapses and just not getting anywhere. So just please, God, watch over and let everyone know how much I love them. And I didn't try to do it this time. I just gave up. And then I came to on the 29th, intubated and restrained to a table and had no idea what happened, no idea the circumstances. And my mom said she tried to wake me up Christmas morning and I was unresponsive on her couch. Just the nightgown I was wearing was just soaked and covered in urine and sweat. And I spent, I think, 11 days in the hospital, um, trying to get my vitamin levels back up and trying to just get stabilized. And it took about 6 months of being sober and trying to just go to doctor's appointments and get as healthy as possible before I finally went, I'm sober, but I'm depressed.
Mm.
I'm not connected with AA. I'm not working my steps right now. I'm really, really excited that I'm almost at 6 months because 6 months is the farthest I've ever made it. And it was within like 2 or 3 days of me being right at 6 months. And so I reached out on Facebook. I just posted in my little county group and said, does anyone know where any AA meetings are around here? Because it's a much more rural area than California where they're everywhere. They're like Starbucks. And
Right.
I've met some amazing people. And just from opening up that prayer and saying, I need to find my faith again, and I need to find AA and get sponsored and do this program and do it right because I was given a second chance.
Mm-hmm.
And I was given this chance for a purpose, and I'm not going to waste it. And yeah,
At what point
it's been
when you
intense.
first woke up, did you realize that God saved you?
Hmm.
Did you realize it right away, or did it take you a while to go, you know what? I should be dead right now, and God literally saved me. He must have some kind of idea, plan for my life.
I think it definitely took a couple days from waking up because there was a lot of like confusion and
Yeah.
not a lot there the first little bit. Um, Probably New Year's Eve. I'd say probably December 31st was when I was sitting in my hospital room and I was fully coherent. And it took me like 2 days of being awake to even ask for my glasses back. And I was just like, yeah, I haven't seen for a couple days, but I don't know why I was like, hey, Mom, do you happen to have my glasses? Like, I don't. So it took me a while to really realize I knew to put it that it was God, I guess is the best way to say that. That it was like I shouldn't have lived. There was no, you know, I shouldn't have. They told my mom, everything was so depleted. Um, and I did. And I want to say, like, I realized that was what was it that is what had happened. And so I didn't want to give up my sobriety. But anytime I had been going through sobriety before, it was immediately, okay, get a sponsor, work your steps, go to meetings. Get a sponsor, work your steps, go to meetings. And it hit me at 6 months sober. I've done a few Zoom meetings, like 5 in the 6 months of sobriety. What do I do? And so I prayed. And I was like, well, obviously it did good that night. And that was kind of the first night that it like hit me that it was like, maybe there is something to this. I know I called it my conversations with God when I was at Salvation Army and couldn't fall asleep. And so I would just talk to God. And so it was essentially like one of those kind of aha moments that I, opened up and prayed. And I immediately had posted into the group on Facebook. And I had also contacted my doctors to see how do I get hooked up with a therapist out here because I feel so much better when I'm talking to someone. And so I think that was kind of also along the plane of inspiration of being able to open up much more and share my story and be willing to put it out there as much as it hurts because I was given a reason to speak and to feel comfortable talking in front of other people and talking to other people. And if I can do anything in my power to have someone not have to go through what I went through to get there, then that's amazing. But also, if I can help someone um, who is there, and at that point, just say, it's not the end, you're still kicking,
How did your
you're
family
still good.
respond to you being in the hospital? How did your family handle that?
I was terrified. I was waiting because my brother is very much I love you to death, but I'm going to tell you exactly how it is. I'm going to tell you you pissed me off, and I'm going to tell you you messed up. So I was honestly like, I didn't want to speak when I first woke up because I didn't know what happened. So I was like, oh my God, what did I do?
Hmm.
What did I damage? What did I break? What happened? And once I kind of got the story and I was waiting for that disappointment, I was waiting for that sadness in their voice or that anger. And I was met with nothing but love, nothing but, we're so glad you made it. And
Yeah.
my brother driving and saying, I couldn't imagine burying my little sister.
Mm.
I'm saying, I don't want you to. I
Right.
don't want you to. I don't want you. I want to be here and I want to be happy. Um, I just need to figure out how to do that. And I am. And I am. And it's been like 3.5 months since I opened up. And, I'm a little over 9 months sober now. I think I have 300 days today.
I'm good.
And thank you. And it's amazing. It's my life is insane and I don't have everything together, but it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And I pray every day and I get to see so many blessings because I'm open to it. And it's like I've always felt intuitive and always felt like, I don't know, this feels good, so I'm going with it. Because
Right.
I let that guide me. I let that be my light. And so I've been going with it and it feels good. And it's the first time in any sobriety that I haven't been, oh my God, I just wish I could have a drink. Oh my God, I just wish this would be so much better if.
Mhm.
Um, but I'm like, well, that's weird. I haven't had a craving.
Yeah.
I used to not be able to go out by myself, or people would be terrified if I was anywhere alone because I would sneak alcohol. And now I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm golden. This is just me. I'm just weird. Now I have to apologize for being sober instead of, I don't
Yes.
have this. Sorry, I was drunk.
Yeah. Isn't that it's so strange because people think I'm like obnoxious or whatever. I'm like, you can think whatever you want about me. Would you
Right.
rather me this way or that way? Pick and choose your battles.
Exactly.
I had to
Exactly.
pick mine. We all have to pick them when we're going through it. One thing I wanted to share about addiction though is a lot of people focus mainly on the addiction and they go, oh, you're a horrible person or whatever because you're addicted. But the thing is there's a root to the problem. It's not that alcohol is the problem. It's the root that causes us to take the drink to begin with. And it's
Hmm.
the self-doubt or the feeling like we for myself, it was like I never measured up, but the only thing that made me feel happy was a drink of alcohol or, going to the club and
Yeah.
and and having a happy time because I was a happy drunk most of the time. On occasion I wasn't, but um,
Right.
when I used to drink really heavy like that. But a few times people would be like, "Yeah, you need to knock that off. That was a bit much." But most of the time it was like, "Oh, you were the life of the party," and it's funny because we want to be the life of the party, but we want to do it sober. We just don't know how because we've been
Exactly.
told that we will never measure up to that or whatever. I'm not sure what
Hmm.
in your lifetime that you were told or in our life, we're spoken lies. The enemy speaks lies,
Yeah,
through our loved ones, through people, through teachers, through all kinds of things. It only takes one person to say one thing that can destroy a person.
totally.
And I learned
Totally.
that from a gal that um, was told one thing by her father, and the rest of her life, for years, it ruined her. One thing, because she
Yeah.
she really looked up to her father. But once he said, "You disappoint me," she felt like she could never go back. And that's all
Yeah.
it takes. So I try to, help people to try to understand that the alcohol wasn't the problem. It was what caused you to drink in the first place that was the problem. So what do you think? What do you think? What do you think was a factor for you? What do you think took you down that road? If you don't mind sharing that, that might be a little too personal.
Oh, no, absolutely. Absolutely. Because I've done a lot of therapy and a lot of self introspection on it.
Okay,
Um, and for me, I used to numb my pain with food. Food was everything. It
me
was
too.
celebratory. It was sad. It was grieving. It's everything. My everything focused on it. And so if I'm happy, I eat. If I'm sad, I eat. If I'm, excited, I eat. And once I couldn't do that anymore and I was making, I would get sick.
Yeah.
And I mean, I did the hunger, like the feeling of hunger went away. It's a weird feeling to be like, I'm constantly thinking about food because I enjoy it. Now I just like cooking and baking to get it away. But it was, I think, kind of the subconscious, like, I'm upset about something, I need to numb myself, or I'm nervous about something, I need to numb myself. I didn't feel authentically me.
Mm.
Once I rediscovered it, and I was like, I never got that phase of let's just drink and have fun because all my friends were a few years older than me. So they were going to the bar and the clubs and doing all of that. And I was the young one that couldn't go. And so I drank at home. And I think I've been to a bar 3 times in my entire life. And I've never been to a club. I love to dance, but I've never been to a club. Um, and so it took a long time for me to be able to look at me and go, I don't like disappointing people. And I'm worried that they're going to be disappointed or I'm going to do something wrong. So I'm going to drink ahead of time so I don't have to worry about that. I'm struggling with this. So I think my headphones just died. I've got a little beat. Can you still hear me just fine?
You're a little bit
Okay.
muffled, but not bad.
I tried to charge them up uh before we got started, but Beats died apparently. Um yeah, I it took a long time for me to see like I'm upset, so I'm using this to drink. And I'm definitely still doing a lot of work on um the kind of the root cause of like I don't know if there's even one specific or it's just a combination of everything and working through my background. And I haven't been as active with a therapist just with medical stuff going on, but I have an appointment tomorrow actually. So I think for me the best thing has been able to talk to someone and kind of go back and see like why I chose that path and kind of what led me to it. And I really, really, as hard as it is, um, it was for a reason. It was for a reason. And there was a lesson in it. And there's always a lesson in the pain. There's always a lesson in everything. And so now I'm at the how can I reflect and be responsible, reflective, and growing, but also, um, how can I with the take control, but also release control?
Hmm.
Like, how can I take control of my life? But I'm saying, God, you got the wheel. My foot's
The
on the pedal.
balance.
I'm going and I'm alive, but you
Yeah,
got the wheel and tell me where to go, and I'm gonna go with it. And so I'm cautiously optimistic. I hate getting disappointed. So I try not to get my hopes up too much, but keep things realistic and just do what I can, do everything I can to keep pushing forward and just keep what's the next right thing, the next
right.
right step.
That's really good, actually. And I think that we find our balance when we lean into our faith in God, because the more faith, we're supposed to have faith every day,
Mm-hmm.
more and more faith every day. And sometimes that's not always easy to have. Um, because sometimes we doubt ourselves in our own faith. We
Yeah.
doubt our own faith. Like, I don't think I have enough faith. Well, you're doubting yourself again, you know? And then that goes back to your self identity as like who you are and how you were up, you know, how you were brought up and just certain circumstances in your life. So, for myself, I struggled with food as well. And, man, from when I was a little girl, I was just a little chunk-a-monk all the time. I mean, I was chunky. You know, and I got made fun of a lot. So, I
Oh yeah,
mean,
bullying is
they
not
could just
nice,
roll me down the hill, you know. I mean, there would be
right?
some stuff they could say, and I laugh about it now because it's funny. I mean, it doesn't bother me anymore, but when I was little, it bothered me, and I would eat more, and it bothered me, and I eat more, and I got up. You know, that's why you and I are so similar because I had a bypass too in 1999, and I was clear up to over 300 pounds and I was 320 pounds the day I weighed in for surgery for my gastric bypass, but I had to lose like 20 pounds before that, and who knows how much I yo-yoed before that.
Right.
So I definitely can relate with exactly what you're talking about. But I think a lot of our struggles with food or alcohol. And alcohol and food, they're both an addiction. Some people are like, "Oh, you're an alcoholic." Well, you're a food addict. It's you know, it
Exactly.
drives me nuts when somebody points the finger at somebody else because the addiction's different. It's not different.
Yeah, but it's somehow worse.
Yeah.
It's like
I mean,
pain
sometimes
is pain.
it could be depending, like, I mean, I could eat a cheeseburger and it won't make me drunk. So I get where they're coming from with that.
Yeah.
Um, you know, and it is my own health that I'm destroying. And the one thing about God is, you know, He wants us to have a purified temple, and for Him to live in us, we have to have a purified body. And it took me years to come to that conclusion. Like, man, I'm. It's not that God's mad that I drank alcohol. It's that God's not happy that I'm not taking care of my body, and He resides
Mm-hmm.
within me. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and so
That's
that
a good
made
way to look
me
at it. I
think a
like
little
that.
differently. Yeah, and I had to start thinking about if God is in my home right now, if Jesus is in my home right now, how do I want the furniture to look? How do I want the presentation to be? You know, and yeah, we all can put on the facade because we all have, but you can't with Jesus. He's on the inside
Mm-hmm.
of you. He sees it all. He sees the dirt under the rug and what you got
Exactly.
shoved in the closet and the thought process and it takes a renewing of the mind when we start working on our identity and when we start working on purifying our temple, which our bodies
Mm-hmm.
are our temple. And so I've gotten really well or better at that myself, you know, because you know, like I said, I went through a divorce and I lost the weight and then I started drinking. I went to sow my oats that I never did when I was in high school. I didn't drink and stuff in high school. I was terrified of it.
Me
Um,
neither. Yeah.
because I saw too much when I was a little girl. So I didn't want to be around. I swore I was like, I am never going to drink. I am never going to be around that stuff. I'm not going to have anything to do with it. And then I turned around and did it.
Right.
So kind of like ate my own words there. But yeah, I feel like once you find the balance though with, you know, you're overcoming that obstacle and then you're like, now what do I do with myself? I'm so used to having the food as my comfort, the
Mm-hmm.
alcohol as my comfort. The alcohol made me happy. The alcohol made me this. The food made me this. It's like, where do I find that? My advice to you and my suggestion is find it in Jesus because He's going to give it to you. And
Yeah.
He is the word. He is the word, and He's our manna. So when we're hungry,
Yeah.
go to the word first and then go eat a cheeseburger. If you still feel like you need one, go ahead and eat one. I don't tell people to deny yourself anything, but if you're struggling in an area with alcohol, if you're really wanting a drink, go spend some time with Jesus first and then see if the urgency is still there because He helps take it away. And He
Yeah.
took it away from me. There's times when I'm just like, oh man, like I am gonna go get me a I'm gonna go get me a bottle. And God's like, no, you're not. And I'm like, is that you, God? Like, you know, are you talking to me? And then I was like, okay, I need to have some time with God. And the urgency went away. And it takes time for that to build up, and it takes time to discipline yourself and become obedient and literally sitting at Jesus's feet and going, oh God, okay, God, what do you want me to do? And He's like, if I were to come into your home, how would you want it to look? If you offered
Mm-hmm.
me a glass of wine, that'd be one thing. But if you offered me a bottle of vodka because you're falling down drunk, do you think I'd be really happy with that? And so I really had to look at my whole situation and how I was living. And was I really pleasing God? Because I already disappointed everybody else in my entire life, I felt.
Right.
I
Yeah.
did not want to disappoint God. And then I thought, oh man, I've already disappointed God. And God said, you haven't disappointed me. I just want you to, I want you to straighten up. That's what repentance is about.
And
So
that's
I'm so
yes. And
thankful.
that was and that was the what I found for my family when I had expected the shutdown because of how serious this was. And it was met with, yeah, I'm disappointed that it happened, but I love you and we're gonna get through this. And that's how I imagine and how I picture God speaking to me. That's how it comes through to me is, yeah, that sucked.
Yeah,
But I can't change the past. It already happened.
right.
What do we do now? And my I find God in my kitchen. I
Hmm.
I'm frustrated, I'm angry, and I want to get this energy out, and I don't know how to get this energy out. So I'm gonna go bake. And I put on my praise music and get it just puts me in such a good mood, and I just get to go and do this. And the fact that I know I'm not eating it, I mean, I'm tasting the batter and licking my fingers along the way as sanitary as possible. But I know that I then get to give it to someone else to enjoy and to share and to see them genuinely light up. Because, I mean, it's say what you want, but if you've ever had a meal that is made with love, you know it.
Yeah,
You know when someone is just mass produced and there you go, versus when
right,
someone cares about it, you can
right.
feel it. And if I'm getting that palpable feeling from Jesus Christ, then why can't I give people that palpable feeling with my food and share? I can only keep what I have by giving it away. And I'm taught and told to spread the word and meet people where they are and not tell them you're wrong or you're bad or this or that or judgment or label or any. You are you and God loves you. And whether or not you know it or it's a random post on Facebook, it hits someone. It means something to someone out there. And
I love that your family,
that's it.
even though they were worried about you, obviously, and they
Yeah.
showed it, um, but instead of just barking at you, they told you how
Hmm.
much they loved you. And that reminds me of the scripture that we talked about. I'm going to pull it up real quick because
Perfect.
the one you mentioned earlier before we started recording, it says, so when they continued asking him, he lifted up himself and said unto them, he that is without sin among you, let him first cast a stone at her. And it's crazy because a lot of times we do forget that we've made our own mistakes. Like I said, some
Hmm.
people will bark over, oh well, food addiction is not worse than alcohol addiction or a drug addiction.
Yeah.
And I know there are differences. I'm not trying to compare food to drugs and alcohol, but food
Yeah.
is
No, no,
also
no.
an addiction, right? It is an addiction.
Same
You
as
and I had
shopping
the
or
addiction
gambling.
because when we're 400 pounds, we're addicted to
Hmm.
food, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No
Um,
denying.
and of course, and we both did the same thing. We traded food for alcohol because we wanted the same feeling that we got from food,
Hmm.
but we couldn't have it anymore. We had to replace it with something, and we didn't know what to replace it with. And I always
Exactly.
encourage people to, I literally do this with every
Replace it
episode.
with God.
Get the word in your hand, and this is your
Yeah.
replacement. This is your replacement right here. And let God speak to you through it because there's so much He's going to show you. And you're not going to be, no one's going to be perfect with it. Everybody's like, yeah, but
Nope.
there's a lot in here, and I've already missed the boat. I'm like, you know how many times I had to swim to shore before I got it right? I mean, and I'm still swimming to shore. Sometimes I still find
And it's
myself
okay to wear
still
your
in the
rubber
middle.
ducky floaties.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
God's
It's
going to keep you
great.
buoyant. You just got
Yeah,
to keep on bouncing along, one
yeah.
little waddle at a time.
Exactly. So just hanging on to that faith and just remembering that we're all going to face those struggles but conquering the strongholds, yeah, that's what you did. You overcame it. And I'm so proud of you. 300 days? 300
Yeah,
days.
300 days. And
I have not
today
ever
I'm,
gone 300 days
yes,
without having a drink. And I'm a
me
Christian,
neither.
but I don't
It's
drink like
okay.
I don't drink like I
Exactly.
used to drink. I still have a glass of wine or whatever. But I've never made myself go to a sobriety to where I just cold never drank again, you know.
Yeah. And for some
Now I
people, it's
learned
not
moderation.
necessary. It's you're able to recognize. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And for me, I wasn't able to get that. It's okay.
That's
So
okay.
I totally respect in other people's, drink, have fun, enjoy it. It is an adult uh Privilege? There we go. I'm like, it's
Yeah.
a privilege. I'm not good at that. So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna stick with my Diet Coke or mocktails. I love mocktails. I'm like, I want all the fruity, fun mixology stuff. Just skip the alcoholic part.
Yeah. Just like the Temples, the Shirley Temples. It's funny
That's
because
exactly.
they're just as good, and you don't have to be drunk to have fun, but sometimes we feel like
Hmm.
that. Sometimes when you have even when you have a virgin drink, it gives you that sense of that feeling, that desire that you get right when you take the first drink anyway, when you're going out to have that fun night. And it's the same feeling. You just got to know how to distinguish the two and enjoy it.
Exactly.
And I love that, like some people, and I love that you recognize with yourself, I'm not able to do the moderation thing.
Hmm.
I have to do the completely
The
abstinence. I
no.
have to have zero,
Yeah.
zero, zero. I have to stay in my sobriety. And I don't encourage anybody to step out of sobriety ever, or
Same.
try the moderation thing, because if if that's how you are and you know how you are, I definitely encourage people to stay in it for the long haul, stay in their sobriety. And I know some people that were like, oh, I fell out of sobriety for like a week. That doesn't mean you start over. That means you just pick up
You
and
had a
you
lap.
go on.
Exactly.
People
Exactly.
relapse
You
all the
didn't
time.
lose your time.
Yeah, you just can't add those 5 days to your the 5 day
Exactly.
binge. You can't add that to your count, but you got to pick up the pieces and keep going, and
And the important
whatnot.
thing is
And
that you keep going.
yeah, get the
Just keep
word
coming
and go
back.
to an AA
Yeah.
meeting, whatever you
Yes,
got to do.
exactly.
You
Exactly.
know, I encourage that with people, and yeah, I think it's amazing that you know yourself well enough to go, I know what I can and what I can't handle now. Whereas before,
Oh
you
yeah.
didn't know how to handle it, you know.
Nope.
And once you recognize how to handle something, for one, I think when you learn how to handle something, it's a little bit higher step of maturity in our life, where
Yeah.
we took a little bit of a step, like, oh, I'm actually growing up a little bit here. I'm doing the grown up thing for once, and I'm making a good decision for once. And that's a really good feeling. That's a really good feeling to up your game. Some people think,
Right.
oh, you're not upping your game unless you're doing this and this. No, I up my game because I made it 300 days. You have no idea. That is me upping
Right.
my game.
Right.
Yeah, and you should be so proud of yourself for that. I think that's
And that's
amazing.
I'm so unabashedly authentically myself. Like the other night, I was having dinner at Olive Garden because I'd have a liver biopsy, MRI, CT scan, and a paracentesis all last week. And I was like, let's celebrate my birthday. And our waiter, he goes, oh, birthday drinks tonight? And I just laughed and I said, you can have my margarita. I was like, because I can't have it. And he's like, oh. And I'm like, no, don't feel bad. I just can't enjoy it responsibly and would rather not worry about that. So we'll just stay good. And it doesn't bug me. It doesn't upset me. It doesn't hurt me.
Yeah,
And I get that everyone has their levels of what they're of sharing comfortability or ability. And so I hope one thing I want to do at a goal is to kind of end the stigma about it,
yeah,
that it's okay to be sober. You don't have to announce that it's that it's a special thing. It's what you're working on. And but regardless of why you are choosing sobriety, you know, it it doesn't need to be so shameful or so scary to deal with
right.
addiction, you know, and to feel safe enough to reach out to someone.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like young people nowadays, um, I think they're getting a little bit better at saying
totally.
no, saying no,
Totally.
at it. Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of our younger generation, adults, like are in their 20s, 20 to 30s, that
Hmm.
are just, and they're being more responsible, and they're having a good time, but they're not indulging in it. They're not making it something that is a band-aid.
Yeah.
It's just an occasional drink or whatever, or they're not drinking it at all. I've
Yeah.
seen that. So, and I think that's amazing. But before we start wrapping up, I do want to ask you, if you would tell our listeners, what um, bit of advice would you give to somebody who finds themselves in the same situation that you were in? What would you say to them? What would you say to encourage them?
I know if I necessarily even would want to have words to say to them. I would want to just give them a hug
Oh,
because sometimes words aren't necessary. Just knowing that someone is there, me, whether it's AA or God or whatever your vice or hardship that you're going through, there's always someone there that is going through something similar. And so my the best advice that I possibly can is to reach out, whether that's vocally and reaching out to a family member, a friend, social media, or whether it's internally and you're praying or showing up in person and being able to go to church.
mm,
There is always God or someone who is willing to listen. And if and I struggle with, I'm the kind of person that'll text and say, "Hey, can we talk?" Because I'm going through a really, really hard time and I don't know how to say, I really need to just cry at you. And so one thing I've heard of now and I'm taking into practice is when I need to talk and I really need that friend time, just telling someone I need 8 minutes.
I've heard that
I need
before.
that 8 minutes. Yep.
Heard that. That's good
And so
therapy. The 8 minute
we've
therapy
started doing
rule.
it.
Yeah.
We started doing it of is this a hey, I want to chat and catch up because I'm running an errand, or no, this is serious. I need 8 minutes. And that just means put down whatever I'm doing and I'm there for that call.
Yeah.
Or they've stopped what they're doing and are there for that call. And it's a beautiful symbiotic relationship.
Yeah. And I actually love that outreach because some people um um are afraid to say they don't know how to
Hmm.
they don't know how to go about saying it, but saying it that way is a way of speaking without speaking again, like what you said, kind
Exactly.
of, and you automatically know when somebody says, "Hey, I need 8 minutes." You know
Mm,
that they really need just your shoulder for a minute. It may not
yep.
even be, and to the person listening, it may not seem like a big deal, but the person who has the problem, it is a big deal. What we do is we don't take
Hmm.
account into people that are going through something, and to that person, it really is a big deal. Just because we have overcome it or we've gone through it or we think we it's not a big deal to us, it doesn't mean it's not to the person that's having the issue
Exactly.
or going through the stronghold. When I was tackling my strongholds, I there's several strongholds that I had to overcome: the rejection, the abandonment. Like I shared with you, I was yo-yoed around as a kid. I was rejected a lot as a kid. My mom only wanted me out of convenience, to take care of her, and that's really a sad story. I
Yeah.
laugh at it now, but I I was really rejected by her, and it really hurt me. And so going through those strongholds, I would tell people, and they'd be like, "Oh, girl, just put your big girl pants on and knock it off. Get up and dust
Right.
yourself off and get over it." And I was like, "Okay, fine, I will." And I have to say, I'd get the attitude back, and I'd be like, "Fine, I will
Hmm.
act like." And then I would what would happen with that though is I would get all high and puffy and mighty about it and then forget how much I needed God in it.
Hmm.
Because now I got my big girl pants on. I don't need anybody else, including God. And so we got to be careful where our mindset is, and we got to renew our mind. If we have a struggle, we need that 8 minutes. God knows we need that 8 minutes too. He's our source. We can go to him too. But I think
That's
that we need to be able to understand that it's not everybody's struggles the same. That's why I love talking about
and
people's
pain is
strongholds.
pain.
Yeah, it is. And you can't get power out of it if you don't get through it. You have to conquer it somehow, you
Reclaim your
know?
power.
Yeah. Yeah, reclaim
God
it
wants
is
you to be
great.
alive and God
You
wants you to
gotta
be
reclaim it.
happy.
Yeah. You gotta
So
take ownership
he's,
for it.
he's there going, yes, queen, do it.
I think that's awesome. Awesome,
That's
awesome.
how I picture God talking to me, is like RuPaul.
Like group
If you can't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love somebody else?
right? Oh my gosh. So, now that you are sober, what is it that you like to do
Yes.
for fun besides baking?
Um, I
Tell me
read
one thing,
all the
huh?
time. I'm a nerd. I read
Yeah,
murder
you would love our
documentaries,
bookstore.
true crime. I watch a lot of documentaries and horror movies and stuff. That's my kitten that I have. She's 6 months old. I got her on Friday the 13th, so we named her Clarice. So that way it could be like Hello, Clarice. She's Claire Bear. It's only my mom was like, I can't yell at her as Clarice. It's creepy. And I'm like, that's only her name for when she's in trouble. That's her full legal name. Otherwise, it's my little Claire Bear. She's my little source of comfort. Uh I don't even remember where I was going with that. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's not a big deal. Well, I've absolutely had such a pleasure just hanging out and
It's been a
talking with you
great
today.
morning.
And how exciting. Thank you for your transparency and sharing your testimony. It's not always
Thank you.
easy to come on here and tell people some of the things you've conquered, some of the things you've done, some of the things you went through.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes,
Great. Yeah.
we kind of put up that flag of shame sometimes when we feel like, oh man, somebody's actually going to listen to this. Um,
Right.
I think that when we're going through these struggles and crushing these strongholds, the person out there that's going to listen to it is going to be the person that needs it the most. And I pray for that. I pray that these
Exactly.
messages hit the
Exactly.
right place where they need to be.
Exactly.
That's what this podcast is all about. And
Which is why I'm so happy that we ended up having to reschedule because
yeah,
it's like so many more positive things have happened in that like literally week and a half that we rescheduled
yeah,
that I'm like, oh, even better.
right,
Yeah. It happens when it's supposed to happen. Totally.
yeah,
And it's gonna hit who needs to listen, who needs to hear it, and it's gonna be shared because they need to hear it. And
yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah. I
been
think
good. It's been
everything's in
great.
God's timing. God has a way of putting us in place where we need to be, and
I
putting
agree.
people in our lives where they need to be too. I think that's great. I think I'm really glad that we got a chance to meet and we're getting a chance to know each other. And I can't wait to order some of those glasses. You have to send me the link. I
Oh, I
love
will.
the ones you're wearing. I love those ones. You have so many cute glasses. Oh my gosh. I see them every time you have a new pair on. I'm like, oh my gosh, another pair of glasses. I get all excited for you. They look
I
so good
definitely
on you.
try to I definitely try to think when I post pictures. I'm like, when was the last time I wore this pair? Hold on. Okay. Try to switch them up. I'm like, we're gonna wear this pair today. We're gonna wear this pair today. I'm like, I switch up my outfit. I have a different jacket on or shirt. I want to have different glasses.
Yeah. Yeah, I have three
So,
pair of glasses, but and they're kind of outdated. I'm ready to get some new ones. So I definitely need to get that link from you so I can do that. So
oh, we will.
um also do you have any you haven't written a book or anything yet, right? Are you thinking about writing a book about your testimony? I think we
I'm
talked about
I'm
that
in the
before.
publishing stages.
Oh, nice, nice.
I
So
have
when
it
you
written
do,
out and recipes. Yeah, I will absolutely. It's going to be a digital copy.
okay,
Part recipe, part it's like part memoir, part cookbook, kind of same
okay,
thing. I throw in my background stories, and these are recipes that brought me home.
nice. I
Yeah,
love that. I love that. You know why? Because it's just like it makes it more homey, I think.
that's
It,
exactly.
it's not just your everyday cookbook you find every day. There's a story behind it. I love
That's
recipes that
exactly.
have a story. All of my favorite recipes from my grandma and my mother all have stories behind them. And when we make
Exactly.
them, we talk about them at the table every time we make them.
Mm-hmm.
They're a
Mm-hmm.
conversation piece for sure.
Oh,
So.
absolutely.
So yeah, when you get that information, just get that to me, and I can add that to this podcast. I can always add to the podcast later, so
Cool.
people
Cool.
can see that that's out, and I can
Awesome.
help you promote that, or even I can have
Add
you
into
back
the
on, and
bucket.
we can talk about it. Yeah, you come
Right.
on back on.
I was gonna say, I know. I'm like, I'll send you a copy of it, and then we can discuss it later. See if you tried anything.
Oh, I will. I definitely would.
Yeah.
Me and my daughter love trying new recipes, so we thought about compiling my mom and my grandma's recipes together, and making a recipe book for her, and
Yeah.
putting those stories that I was just telling you about, putting some of the stories in with them. How some of them came about. Some of the recipes came about by accident. They kind of
Yeah.
just fell in
Oh,
the pan.
like yeah. Our barbecue bacon wrapped meatloaf is the best meatloaf I've ever had.
Yum.
It caught on fire on the barbecue because the bacon fat dripping through, and it caught on fire for I don't know how long till we noticed it. So crispy and perfect. Like it
The
was amazing.
best. Probably the best
Is
meatloaf
like
ever.
we fought over who got to eat the barbecued one and didn't even touch the two that were in the oven.
Mm, that's
We were just
crazy.
like,
How fun.
it's great.
Well, I do want to tell our listeners that before we wrap up here that if there's any strongholds that you're struggling with or if you need
Hmm.
any prayer for anything, you can always go to my website. It's crushingstrongholds.com. And there's a place on there to get a free clarity call and prayer as well. There's also coaching on there. I do live coaching like I mentioned before, but the purpose of this podcast is basically just to help people to overcome strongholds that hold you back from your God-given purpose. And I think God has a perfect plan. Like it says in Jeremiah 29, his plan for us is perfect. And it's to give us a future with hope. And why would he give us a plan if he didn't have one for us? He's already got it all worked out for us. So we need not worry about it. We just need to have faith about it. And we need to put our hands
Hmm.
in God's hands. And kind of like you said, let Jesus take the wheel. I love that you said that.
Hmm.
That's a good motto to go by. So, but I thank you so much, Megan, for coming on today. I've enjoyed you so much, and I can't wait to get to know you
Yeah.
some more. I'm glad we're becoming friends, and like I said, I hope we get to bump into each other in California, probably. I don't know that I'll
Yes.
ever get to Arkansas. I don't think I've ever been to Arkansas. I've been to North Carolina, though.
But I was going to
So,
say, where you are in California is, like we said, a hop, skip, and a jump for me, where I was. So I know exactly where you are.
yeah. Yeah, and I think I even know where the church is that you said you went to. I am familiar a little bit with Woodland because I've done some ministry work out there, but which is pretty exciting to be out there. I
Second
miss it. I
Street
haven't been
behind the
out there.
library.
Huh?
I said it's on Second Street behind the library,
Oh my gosh.
tucked in.
Is it in like a big parking lot or is it small?
It's a medium-sized church. I was gonna say it's not a giant. It's definitely a medium-sized church, and there's like cobblestone bricks. It's like if I walk diagonal, I'm gonna hit the Opera House and a couple things right there in Woodland off of
Okay.
Court and Second. Anyway, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll have to look at that. But anyhow, but yeah, I really enjoyed having you, and thank you again so much for sharing your story with everyone. And I can't wait for other people to hear it and listen to it,
Yeah.
and just know that they're not alone in it.
Yes, yes, you
Um,
are not alone. You are not alone.
absolutely. So I thank you, and for all of our listeners, I'm getting tongue tied here. For all of our
I know.
listeners, I thank you for coming on board and listening to us. And I hope you've enjoyed this another amazing episode of Crushing Strongholds. And like I said, if you need prayer or if you need coaching or counseling, just get on Crushing Strongholds, fill out the welcome
Yeah.
part and subscribe. And you can always just send me a message. There's a place in there just to put me a little note, and I will always get back to you because I just love people that reach out. So we thank you and we hope that you have an amazing and blessed day, and you all take care. Bye.